Welcome back to Crit and Crit. I'm Axion.
I'm Scint.
And we are continuing through our discussion on Bram Stoker's Dracula and our playthrough of Castlevania, Circle of the Moon, as this armor beats the living daylights out of me.
There you go.
Just took care of the Golem boss. Now I need to figure out where to go next after being lost for the past 2 episodes before that boss.
Golems are just superstition.
I mean, that's literally true. They're based off of a Jewish folktale, I believe.
Yes, segue failed. We're talking about the trend throughout Dracula of intellectual snobbery, where superstitions is constantly dismissed and derided in favor of modern scientific knowledge, and the superstition pretty much, like, 100% turns out to be correct.
It was an age where superstition and the sword ruled.
Except, you know, swords were kind of out of fashion once everybody had, like, revolvers. Never mind! But yeah, we first see this again with good old Harker, who, well, as we mentioned, everyone keeps talking about this vampire myth, and I'm gonna have to ask Count Dracula if he's ever heard of it. Yeah, on his way to Dracula's castle, he notices that whenever anyone finds out where he's going, they start crossing themselves and taking out the crucifixes, and he's just like, wow, weird. It's so strange, all these local superstitions they have here, not like us civilized folk back home. Da, 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 da. And as mentioned before, the fact that one of these women puts a crucifix around his neck saves his life, because Dracula can't kill him with that. It really is an interesting read with all what we know about, like, vampires in fiction these days, and just how blatantly Harker fails to notice anything suspicious about, you know, the creepy castle, the wolves howling outside it all out at every night.
Harker just being dense as a rock.
The lack of reflection that Dracula has. Yeah, Harker. Nina could do better. But he loves her, so there's that.
He means well.
Yes, he really does. Still, most of this cast are not people you want in a horror movie with you, which is ironic because they're in a horror novel.
I'll take Mina and Van Helsing, and the rest can just go.
Well, we have to take Harker, because as you mentioned earlier, Mina's doing everything for Harker.
That is fair. So, we have these... We have this group of Englishmen, highly educated people of the upper crust, essentially, more or less.
Okay, I have a segue on what we were saying before, but please don't get angry with me.
Go ahead.
Van Helsing is Fred, Mina is Velma, and Harker is Shaggy.
Let's split up, gang!
Zorg, she's been bitten!
This went weird places.
When does it not go weird places?
When we don't get distracted from the main thing we were talking about.
How often does that happen?
Like, never. But yeah, we have these people. If I remember correctly, one's a doctor, Harker's like a lawyer. I forget what the other two's jobs were. Not Van Helsing, the other two suitors.
Arthur is a lord, and Quincy is an American. I don't know. I think they just said he's a cowboy. But that might legit just be because of how...
I mean, that would have been a legitimate... Well, that also would have been a legitimate job at the time.
Yeah, but, historically, he probably doesn't fit the demographic of how most actual cowboys were, so it basically is just going off of, like, stories heard from America and stuff.
That is also fair.
Plus, why would you be, like, how could you be a cowboy and do your work while you're in England? You don't have the cattle drives to do. Because England's, like, the size of Maine.
I don't like these guys.
Sorry, we've gone off topic again, but yeah.
It's what we do. Point being, you have two very highly educated gentlemen, one nobleman, and the American guy. And Americans are, even back then, already known for a lot of the tropes that Americans have become known for over the years of arrogance and being far too confident in their own abilities, especially when not warranted. I don't think that was something that Stoker would have been unaware of.
Although Stoker also does take the time to throw shade at the British. There is a short little snippet about when Harker, like, as a raving lunatic trying to get home, the locals immediately assume he's English because he's behaving like a crazy person. And again, Stoker being Irish,
makes sense.
Had feelings.
But yeah, you have these people with their high levels of education and, in Arthur's case, in his nobility. And they immediately assume that that is going to be able to answer any questions that I have and make them capable of taking care of the problem on their own. And they very quickly learn, which, to give them some credit, at least they learn it, that that's not true, and they are going to need the help of somebody who is a little more versed in this specific thing, and that's when Van Helsing comes in.
Yep, we're lucky that Seward knows Van Helsing, because, gonna be honest here, Seward means well, but I think he's actually more of an idiot than Harker. He's got Renfield. I'm fascinated by the fact that my patient keeps wanting to eat animals. I'm gonna go ahead and keep giving him bigger animals, and will occasionally let him outside for good behavior. And why is he behaving like this? Like, dude, why are you like this?
Which, to be... I hesitate to use the word fair in this context, but I lack a better way to put this.
To be charitable.
I guess that's one way to put it. That was kind of the state of mental health treatment at the time. It was not in a good place.
Yeah, but I think most mental health places would not be like, yes, the patient keeps eating flies and spiders, and let's give him a kitten and see what do you think is gonna happen? No. Bad doctor.
I counter that wouldn't happen with the exact kinds of mental health experiments and stuff that did happen around that time. Were not that much crazier than this guy rants and raves about eating animals. Let's give him an animal to eat and see what he does.
At least there weren't leeches, I guess.
Oh no, I bet you there were leeches. I guarantee you there were leeches at the time. I'm pretty sure that was still a thing that was commonly accepted at the time. I'd have to do a bit of a double check on my time periods, but yeah, at the time that this book is being written about, mental health was just a thing that was just being considered basically for the first time. Oh, hi, werewolf.
Yep.
So, it was very much unexplored territory, and a lot of what is associated with proper mental health care today was not even being considered at the time.
Oh, I know, like, we're not that far off of Jane Eyre Bertha in the Attic situation. Like, the fact that there's an actual asylum that we have for people is an improvement in and of itself. But, yeah. Point is, they bring in Van Helsing, who Seward happens to know from something else, and Van Helsing's quickly just like, yep, we're gonna do this, this, and this, and Seward's like, trust me. Okay. And even Lucy and her mother are skeptical as well, which is ultimately Lucy's downfall.
I was about to say, that's what eventually gets Lucy killed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, here, you have these flowers. Put them on your neck so you sleep well. They will make your trouble forgotten. It's like, Professor, I believe you were only putting up a joke on me. These flowers are only common garlic. Now, as soon as you see the word garlic, are like, yep, you better have those, but with vampires not being, the fiction juggernaut that they are today, you can see why they'd be like, yeah, no. And then her mother basically takes them out of the room later because good medicine says, oh, she's having trouble breathing. These flowers are going to make it all stuffy and musty in here. Let's clear this out so she can get some fresh air. Not knowing that the garlic flowers were the only thing keeping Dracula at bay.
Yeah.
And
in their defense, and to basically give my only shot of this is a failure on your part at Van Helsing, he could have taken 5 minutes to explain why he was doing what he was doing, and to ensure, at the very least, the other people in the room at the time understood why he was putting the flowers there.
Yep. But he didn't.
Because he had already, by this point, he had already passed the, I'm just theorizing it's a vampire. He had definitely reached the points of, yes, this is a vampire, I know what I'm dealing with, and I know how to deal with it, phase.
Yeah, though in fairness to him for not explaining, how many people do you think would have listened if he said, yeah, no, the mist crept in through the window, turned into a man, and bit your daughter, so you need these flowers to keep him away?
Do I think her mother would have listened? No. But it was...
I don't know if anybody would have listened. Remember, it took some actual... They had to go into the crypt and see, look at the bodies, and look at how this, for all the others to believe that, no, yeah, Lucy's a vampire now. Because Seward straight up did not believe him and was still convinced, okay, so someone took her out of the coffin and put her back in. No, she moved on her own. So I don't think they would have believed him. He probably, if he wanted to do some explaining that would have made it, he'd probably been better off just saying, it is a local traditional cure. It has cured so many mysterious things like this. Give it a try for a few nights and then we will see. That would have probably been the best way to do it, but even then, well, he's a foreigner, what does he know, might have well reared its ugly head. But yeah, he did not make any effort to explain in any way, let alone one that would have been received.
Yeah. I mean, even if he tried and failed, he could have at least said he tried. Small comfort to Lucy, obviously, but as is, it basically comes across as, trust me, bro, and then he gets to say, told you so, when the mother removes the flowers and the vampire gets the girl.
Well, he doesn't actually get to say that because because remember, her mother dies before Lucy does.
You know what I mean.
But yeah, I do know what you mean.
I'm not being literal here.
Okay, so yeah.
I also don't think he'd be the type to actually just say, told you so. He's not that kind of guy.
Yeah. Well, he was the type to start laughing his butt off in the other room after Arthur was like, I feel married to Lucy after I gave her that blood transfusion. And Van Helsing's like, oh, she's polyandrous because, look, we all gave her blood, so we're all married now. Whoopsie daisy, ha ha ha. Which, to be fair, Arthur did make a very silly statement there. But yeah, once they have proven it's a vampire, we are full in on superstition land. Nobody makes fun of the superstitions anymore. We'll even go with hypnosis if it lets us get more information on what Dracula's doing.
Yep. And it works. It does the job. And it's basically the only thing that lets them stop Dracula in the long run. They figure out his connection to Mina and use it against him.
And by they, we mean Mina.
Yeah, Mina figures it out and tells the guys. And then the guys are like, well, let's use this.
Yep. So, what this can actually be looked at a little further is if you really want to go way too deep into this, which is our job. This dismissal of modern science and respect for older traditions could honestly be seen as somewhat Luddite. A fear of change, a fear of technology, a fear that the world is becoming something it shouldn't be. And therefore you need to rely on just the good old things that have always worked, that have always been proven, rather than trying out these newfangled things that are meant to make our lives better. It could, if you want to stretch it, be seen as somewhat anti-education. Because it's not the scientific knowledge, it's not the long studying, it's listen to the old man. So there's that. I think that might be a bit of a stretch again, but the seeds are there. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say here.
I think that's probably about as good a way to wrap it up as any.
Alright. Until next time, then.
See ya.